All right, y'all. So I am in the midst of this move, and this news comes across my desk from the neighborhood talk. Okay. And shout out to Simply Shamar for putting me onto this because I would have been out of the loop. I need to go manage the rest of this move, but I was like, I got to get on here and we got to talk about this and these court documents. The I don't want to say the scam of it all, allegedly, but this ain't looking too good for Porsha as she is about to step back into the Real Housewives of Atlanta arena. So, if you guys like reality TV related content and you are interested in the Real Housewives of Atlanta, be sure to subscribe and hit that like button right now. Go ahead and tap it before we get started. Go ahead and tap, 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 tap in, baby. All right. So the headline reads, according to the Neighborhood Talk, court documents show Simon Guobadia is fighting for U.S. citizenship, but his crime-riddled past keeps getting him denied. Now, they are quoted as saying bank fraud, credit card fraud, identity fraud, fake marriages, and multiple felonies. Yikes. Okay. Yikes. All right. So the caption reads, neighbors, it looks like Simon Guobadia is fighting to receive naturalization from the U.S., but can't because he was cutting up while being in the U.S. on a visa years ago. So let's get into it. Now, the court documents, why they put this? Yo, why they put this? Why did they put young scammer right here beside? Baby, let me tell you something. The internet is undefeated. Okay, so let's get into what else is going on. All right, so the court documents, which are listed here, all right, um, they list his background as the reason that his citizenship is in denial. They say in August of 1982, he overstayed his visa. In September of 1987, he pleaded guilty to bank and credit card fraud, a felony offense. In January 1989, he was arrested for unauthorized use of a vehicle, and in 1990, he was arrested for ID fraud. First of all, how did nobody know about this information before now? I think that the people suspected some things about him. And then my question is, did Portia know these things about him going into this, as these documents are stating? And of course, we are always just going to keep that alleged badge going because all commentary, news, and everything else in your life is alleged. Nothing is real. So let's get into what else they are saying, right? They said, but it didn't stop there. He would go on in 1991 to commit more credit card ID fraud. He just couldn't stop. He had to be physically removed from the United States of the America. However, before his removal, he used a fake identity to receive temporary resident status in the US under the Special Agricultural Worker Program. Now, get into this. As a part of the program, his temporary resident status was upgraded to permanent after a waiting period. Then, in December of 2022, he attempted to use the SAW program benefits as a reason why he should be eligible for nationalization. But the US said, heck to the no, 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 because he only got into the program by using a fake identity. Baby, 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 what is really going on here? You mean to tell me you ain't know nothing about this? Nothing? Then it says it's important to note that even his marriages were listed as shams in these court documents. On March 13th of 2023, Simon filed an instant complaint and asked the court to vacate the denial and remand with instructions to grant his application. Simon is now married to Real Housewives of Atlanta's Porsha Williams. With all this fraud and criminal activity, Simon is definitely giving Apollo, Nida, and Peter Thomas's storylines a run for their money. Okay. So when you look over here at the background of the case, it says the case arises out of the petitioner's application for United States citizenship and naturalization. So it goes into all of those things here. It says the petitioner is a Nigerian citizen, first entered the United States on August 11th, 1982, overstayed his visitor visa. In 1995, INS denied his application for adjustment status. He was declared deportable and voluntarily departed from the United States on December 28th of 1985. Then again, he re-entered the United States in June of 1986. Again, overstayed his 6-month visa. In September 1987, petitioner was arrested for bank and credit card fraud and pled guilty to a felony offense. He was arrested in January 1989 for unauthorized use of a vehicle, and again in May of 1990 for fraud. The Lord. Therefore, the agency began the removal proceedings. Okay. If you look down in the notes, it says petitioner's adjustment of status application in 1985 was based on his marriage, which the agency deemed a sham because of statements by his spouse that the two of them had not resided together and the marriage was never consummated. I wonder who that was to. I wonder if did Fallon know any of this? Anyway, it says in January 1991, committed another felony offense, which was credit card fraud. Before his March 1992 removal on October 24th, 1988, petitioner used a different identity to seek temporary resident status, and we talked about that. He did not include his criminal history on the SAW application. When his SAW application was approved with these misrepresentations and omissions, he was given a registration card as a temporary resident on July 25th, 1991. Then they go on, and I'm reading the underlined section. Petition received the permanent residency card on April 27th, 1992, after he had been deported under his other undisclosed identity. On December 22nd, 2016, petitioner applied for naturalization under his second identity. Not the second identity, y'all. And was denied because his temporary resident status was unlawfully granted. On December 31st, 2020, petitioner filed yet another application for naturalization. Following the interview with the petitioner, USCIS again denied petitioner's naturalization application. They explained that he was ineligible because he had not been lawfully admitted for permanent residence. His temporary resident status achieved through the SAW program and benefits had been based on a different identity. I mean, y'all, how many identities does this man have? Like, it makes you wonder, is he one of these types of people that you be seeing on, what is that? Like Criminal Minds and something like that, where they got like so many different identities, and like you have to really figure out which one you really married to. Like, is that what's going on with this thing with Porsha? Now that she living the Lux life. Now, the thing about this is, I know a lot of y'all have been saying from the get-go that something was off about this situation with this man. And, it seemed like nobody had really anything to go by. But I mean, I guess we all needed to dig back way back into the 1980s. Okay, back when Miami Vice was on. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it's like, where was all this information hiding when all of this came out with the marriage and things like that with Porsha years ago? So here we are, fast forward to 2024, and Porsha is now re-entering the world of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Let me understand how this is supposed to work as filming is set to begin, right? We are set to begin filming with Porsha, who is with a man who has allegedly committed bank fraud, credit card fraud, identity fraud, fake marriages, and multiple felonies. I mean, this feels like the second coming of Tom, is this? I mean, this is giving me Tom Girardi vibes. This is giving me Jen Shaw vibes. This is giving me I mean, I just don't quite know what to make of this. But if this is the storyline that we're getting for Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16, bring it on, baby. Bring it on. And so my thing is, will this be a storyline? And if so, I mean, because here's the thing. What I don't want to happen is if she's gonna come on the show and not be able to talk about any of this and basically make it so that none of this is fodder for conversation, then it would equate to Phaedra being on Married to Medicine and giving us nothing but fashions, right? So we really need to understand what the ramifications of this whole situation will be as we move forward with Porsha and Simon on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And if I were her, knowing what I know or knowing this information, girl, did you know? And if you did know, why would you go back on that show? You should have just kept your life off the reality TV screens, because obviously you was already living fabulously, baby. You was living large and flying the jets and everything, and everybody was we were all rooting for you. We really were. I still am. But knowing all of this, I'm kind of like, I mean, is this what we want to see? Because we do know that scandal is what sells these days. Look at the ratings for Beverly Hills. Look at the ratings for Salt Lake City when it was at that, I mean, this time it was reality on tease of it all. But anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think about this whole situation down in the chatterization below. What I really want to know from y'all is, is this what you want to see for Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16? If she does still go forward with it, which if I were her, I would back out immediately. But if we do go forward, do you expect anybody to bring it up? Or do you think that she will ban any conversation the same way that us Phaedra banned any conversation about Apollo? How do we ignore this? How does anybody ignore this information? How do they? How does she? What does she do? Can this be explained in some way, shape, or form that makes it sound a little less diabolical than it does? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. If I were Porsha, I would just keep my life off of reality television. I mean, as much as we love Real Housewives of Atlanta, girl, this right here is not the best look for you. It's really, really not. So I don't know, especially with her being like, Porsha Williams isn't going back to Real Housewives of Atlanta, but Porsha Gobadia is. Is that even the man's name? I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm just asking questions at this point. Who is this man? That's the question. All right, y'all. With that being said, we will, of course, hit you guys with more news later. I still ain't had time to watch Love and Marriage DC, y'all. I apologize. I'm trying to manage the move and where everything got to go and all of these kind of things like that. So let me get back to it, and I will catch you all in the next video.